gathered here today to honor the life and memory of Daley and Willman. And we would like this to be in remembrance and a celebration of his life. And we had the privilege of knowing this good person, my father, and sharing our world with him as he shared his world with us. It is the death of Dale that has brought us together, but his life that we wish to remember. And we are drawn here by our common love, our common respect, and our common grief. And while this is certainly an occasion for sorrow, it is also an occasion and a celebration because we are thankful for the gift of life, and we are thankful that Dale, my father, lived among us. So thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. My name is Antonia Estes Ramirez, and I am one of Dale's many granddaughters. And I will be doing a reading by Joyce Grenfell today. If I should go before the rest of you, break not a flower, nor inscribe a stone, nor when I'm gone, speak in a Sunday voice. But the usual selves that I have known, weep if you must, parting is hell, but life goes on. So sing as well. Thank you.
Does everybody know this song? I can see clearly now.
Here, sing a little bit of the chorus.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. A bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the pain is gone.
All back to here.
All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Bright, sunshiny day.
I'm Larry Kleiman. I have known Dale for so many years. I first knew him when I was a pastor at Northeast United Church of Christ, where he was very active. And I was just starting out in ministry, so I didn't know much. And Dale invited me to come to lunch with him at the place where he worked downtown. This became one of several lunches that we had over a period of years, and I could always tell that he was trying to educate me and give me the wisdom of the world a little bit more. So there were always these profound things that Dale would say, and I know that we've all experienced those. It was that little glimmer in his eye when he would ask a question, and then he would just chuckle after you looked at him like, what? What are you asking? What is that supposed to mean? And he just had this way of seeming to have some inside knowledge about the world that the rest of us were lacking. And he was eager to convey that and share that with all of us. So what a joyous person he has been all these years to share life with, and to know that he was able to engage life in a way that many of us had not experienced, but he invited us into that place of goodness. So whenever I think of Dale, I always think of questions, and I wanted to share a couple of poems by the author Mary Oliver that help us to get a little bit of Dale's wisdom, perhaps, in the way that he viewed the world around. This first one is called The Summer Day, and it starts with questions. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean the one who has flung himself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last, and too soon? Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life. That just engages the deep spirit of Dale, I think. The questioning and the wondering. I know whoever wrote the obituary included a part about how he had sort of transformed from religious, so perhaps a little Christian, to more of a humanist, and the way that he just engaged the world and saw the presence of the energy of creation all around us. He loved science, and he loved to explore and to wonder and to live into the world. And I think it's that living into the world that so helped him to see also deep into our spirits and ours into his, and for that we are grateful today. Another of Mary Oliver's poems, some questions you might ask. Is the soul solid like iron? Or is it tender and breakable like the wings of a moth and the beak of an owl? Who has it and who doesn't? I keep looking around me. The face of the moose is sad. Sad is the face of Jesus. The swan opens her white wings slowly. In the fall, the black bear carries leaves into the darkness. One question leads to another. Does it have a shape, the soul? Like an iceberg? Like the eye of a hummingbird? Does it have one lung like the snake and the scallop? Why should I have it and not the anteater who loves her children? Why should I have it and not the camel? Come to think of it, what about the maple trees? What about the blue iris? What about all the little stones sitting alone in the moonlight? What about roses and lemons and their shining leaves? And what about the grass? There's a farmer who is a poet who lives in Kentucky. And he is so in tune with nature and the world in which we live. He sees the power and the beauty of creation and all the things around him. And he writes about the peace of wild things, Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Perhaps it is that freedom that Dale always seemed to know, at least a hint of, in his life, and which we come to celebrate today, that he is finally free from the Alzheimer's, from those things that caused his body to become more frail. But the one gift that we are left with is memory. And what a joy it is to be able to sit in a wild place and remember and ponder and wonder at our own creation and relationship to the world around us. We can also sit there and think of all of the experiences of Dale that we have had, those words of wisdom that perhaps he has implanted in each of our hearts in a different way. And to be filled with gratitude for that is a way to open ourselves widely to the world around us. It would be impossible to talk about Dale without also remembering at the same time Ginny. It's been years, and yet it seems like it's just now. How good it is to have the spirit of Ginny and Dale with us, to carry with us in life, to weave together with us in ways that we perhaps wouldn't have known. It has made our lives richer and our openness to the world richer. So we give thanks for Ginny today as well. One of the things we'd like to do is, if you have a thought or memory that is sparked, it's very healing for the rest of us to know something special that you know about Dale, that you've experienced. And we want to just take a few moments. You can stand up where you are if you like, and just share something that would be joyful and good. Yeah, Russ.
The one I thought of, Dale had one of my sons and his friend do some painting at his house. And if they'd show up a little bit late, he'd get upset. And the main reason he got upset is that he was trying to give up cigarettes, and they were carrying.
Such a bum.
I think he eventually did manage to get this.
I am my sister and also one of Dale's many grandchildren. So for every visit to Indiana, my family and I would always set a few hours aside every day for every day to visit my grandpa. Although I don't remember him in his earlier years, I do remember him in his later years. And I particularly remember, I'm just going to step aside. So for every visit to Indiana, my family and I would always set a few hours out of the day to visit my grandpa. And although I don't remember him in his earlier years, I do, however, remember him in his later years. And particularly, I remember the joy that my father, Alfonso over there, brought to my grandpa's face every time we would visit him. No offense, Mom. You were obviously his favorite daughter. But I was always very moved by the bond my dad and my grandpa shared. I know that from stories from way back when my grandma was still alive. They always shared something special. But no matter how bad the day was, whenever we would go and visit him and step in that room, a smile would land on my grandpa's face, so big that it could cure cancer. And I know that he loved probably each and every one of us in this room very deeply, but that bond between my dad and my grandpa, I will treasure forever. And I think I'll miss the smile on his face the most.
Sorry, Larry. Okay, so, okay. So my grandpa that I remember was when I was a teenager. And I literally called him one of my best friends, because we would have conversations on the phone for, I don't know how long, probably a long time, about the most bizarre things. Sorry. Like how you can't do anything you don't want to do. And by the same token, you can't not do anything you do want to do. And you can't get sick unless you let yourself. And by the sheer force of your will, anything is humanly possible. He was my genetic link to the planet. Thank you. And helped me write a speech for a contest that I ended up winning a scholarship for, and my go-to for anything intellectual or philosophical, and clearly one of the reasons that I'm as twisted as I am. And if my mom couldn't get off work, he would pick us up from school. No matter how much you're puking, no matter how bad you feel, if you don't at least make up a limerick or recite pi to 7 places, you can't get in the car. When I moved to Los Angeles, he wrote me a postcard that I can't find. I actually found my response to that I never mailed him. But the postcard said, Karen, on a blank white card, just thought you should know, the square root of 2 is up to 10 places. The square root of 3 is up to 10 places. I'm still stumped on the square root of 4. If you can figure it out, please let me know. Also, pi is now up to 50 places. So, being 19 and a little broke, his Christmas present that year was me reciting pi while eating pie. And heck, I'd won money off of knowing that at this point. I think in times like these we try to summarize people, and now he only exists in relationship to each of us individually and specifically. And I think that pi is something that cannot really be summarized and still known in its entirety. It is infinite, it is transcendental, it is irrational, and it is now. 3.1415935897932462843264 3383 279 50288